Well, hey guys,
Hello.
y'all are so excited to be here. Nobody loves being on camera more than Sananda McGee, but I am grateful for the opportunity to sit down with y'all just like I am everybody else. And we've been sitting here talking actually for a while, but we are moving into the opportunity piece of our vision where we're talking about in order to inspire people to live and love like Jesus, we need to create opportunity for people to discover and deploy their God-given gifts to serve the church and advance God's kingdom. And every single area of our church is completely volunteer dependent. So it's not like kids ministry and student ministry are solely that, but throughout this, I want to give our key leaders an opportunity just to sit and have a conversation and give people a chance to get to know y'all. So Sananda is our kids pastor and Preston is our student pastor. And to me, the coolest thing about this conversation is both of y'all served in these areas of ministry before you were ever leading in it. When y'all got involved in these areas of ministry, there were other people that were sitting in those seats. And over the years, God has just worked and moved. You know, one of the things that I think about at our church, I've always had this kind of belief that if you're not willing to serve, you're not qualified to lead. That a leader demonstrates commitment and passion independent of a paycheck and that kind of thing. So talk about how you ended up becoming student pastor and the evolution of all that.
Yeah, so early on, I think it was probably, we came that first Sunday, and we had known Casey and Rebecca Harris through Jenny and Jason from our old church because they had come and visited some. And so early on, I got involved helping him. And maybe the second week we were there, I had a passion for it just because I had experienced it as a teenager and knew the impact it had on me. So I got involved early on helping him as he was a student pastor. And, you know, he just took me under his wing, developed me as we grew, as the ministry grew. I learned a lot, and he was encouraging, built me up as a leader. And then when he was going a different direction with ministry, you and I had that conversation, and it was the perfect fit at the perfect time. And again, I can't speak to how much it impacted me when I was a young adult, a young student, teenager. And so that was kind of where my passion came from. But it was a no-brainer for me to get involved in it right away just because of that.
Now your evolution into kids was a little bit different, where Casey had kind of felt like God was leading me in a different direction and passed the baton. So do you remember when you made that transition? Do you remember coming to my house and we had a conversation about, hey, you want to be our next kids pastor?
I do remember that, yes. So I had never planned on leading anything. I just wanted to serve, and I did feel that kids was where I was called to be. But you know, and I've told you this before. You believed in me. I didn't believe in myself, but I believed in you, and then your faith in me is really the reason I did it.
Yeah. Well, the coolest thing about your ministries is when a kid thinks about kids ministry, doesn't necessarily see your face in their mind. And when a student thinks about student ministry, doesn't necessarily think about your face, because you create these teams that are investing in these kids. Talk about just that, Preston, from a student perspective and approaching it that way.
So I think what's really cool about the way that we do students is, unlike traditional student ministry, which we tried early on, and it just, you know, it's a different age like we talked about, they do get that interaction with those volunteers in an individual basis. You know, we split middle school and high school up, but then we go one step further and we split high school guys and high school girls and middle school guys and middle school girls. So I have volunteers that are over all sections of that, right? So like you said, they don't think about student ministry as me. They think about student ministry as Will and Rachel and Austin and Megan and Wendy and Sammy and Caitlin and Ben and Allison and Vanessa and Brad. I mean, all those people.
I'm impressed that you just remember pretty much every volunteer's name.
I was doing my due diligence. But they think about it as those people because as a middle school boy, which I have my son in there, so obviously I try to stay back from that. But as a middle school boy, they think, man, I go to students and I see Brandon. If I'm a middle school girl, I see Vanessa or Ben or whoever it is, and that's the relationship they're building. And then they'll transition into high school, and then they'll get to build a relationship with somebody else whose face they've seen, who they've known for these years. And that's something really cool about the season we're in with our church. It's the first generation of students that have come all the way through kids ministry into student ministry, and will go all the way through. So it's a great season, but we try to approach it more from that small group atmosphere, like what real church looks like when you get older. And the fact that our volunteers are so invested. Our high school girls have tremendous relationships with all of our high school girl leaders. Our high school guys are close with our high school guy leaders, and the middle school's the same way. And so I think what that does long term is it builds, I think, back to like a Jeremy Taylor or a Dustin. Right? These people who came through student ministry as students and now are so involved, but it builds that connection with the church and these people, right? And so that to me is the exciting part, is that it's an experience that they're going to be able to translate and take with them long term with people who are going to be part of the church and part of their life for a really long time.
That's good. What are the things that have evolved in your heart and keep you kind of motivated to work with students in this crazy kind of age that we live in?
Yeah, it is ever changing, and you and I have had many conversations about what student ministry looks like now compared to when we were involved in it. And for me, going back to the impact it played in my life, I didn't grow up in church, so I really didn't get involved in church at all until I was a teenager. And so the fact that it had such an impact on me even then helps me to realize that these students who are middle school and above right now are the world's crazy, right? It's just a place to navigate that for a 12 to 18-year-old kid, it's just, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things that they need help navigating that, necessarily may not be conversations they're having with their parents and those kind of things. And I and my team, because I can't stress enough how great they are about recognizing those things and getting involved, really want to be that sounding board for them. We want to partner with the parents, but we also want to be that safe place with the kids, right? We want to be that place where they feel like they can open up, not be judged, but also be, again, that partnership with the parents too. And so our main goal is to make sure they have some kind of rooted foundation in the fact that God loves them, that He is there for them no matter what, that it's not judging them, those kind of things, and give them that foundation. That's our ultimate end goal when they leave and take the next step into what life is.
Yeah. In Sananda, one of the things that we've always said is children's ministry is not a daycare service while parents are in here worshiping, that we really are trying to inspire kids to live and love like Jesus. And the number of volunteers and the commitment that it takes. How do you go into that a little bit deeper about the volunteer culture and that kind of stuff? Because this is what I know about both of you guys. Your volunteers are willing to do things that it's hard to get people to do. I think that's maybe even somewhat more so in kids at times, because you got to change diapers and you got to deal with 2-year-olds. And I don't know if I'd rather deal with a 2-year-old or a teenager. That may be a little bit, and you probably have some wisdom into that. But just talk about that volunteer culture and the way that volunteers are shaping kids to the ministry of our church.
I think that in our classrooms, that I'm still amazed. I don't know. People keep coming back and they're excited. And I mean, especially this new season for us, people were just messaging me, for months, just, when are we doing this? When are we doing this? And I mean, they're so excited. The last 2 weeks that we've been open, we've seen so much excitement from them. They just want to be in there. And it is a very demanding part of the church. It's a very thankless place to serve. It really is. There's a lot of, you come in and you're the first one in and you are the last one to leave. A lot of times you don't even get to see people in the foyer, because you're just in the classroom the whole time. And, the kids are not thanking you for serving. They're demanding things from you. So it's just amazing to see the way that these teachers just love seeing the kids and understanding their role as partnering with parents and families, understanding the role that they're playing, that they aren't babysitters.
I think another thing too that's been really cool about watching our kids ministry is we break some of the stereotypes. I think we have box in our mind, this is who serves in kids. Moms, women, that kind of stuff. How have you been able to get such diversity in kids ministry? Because you've got 20-something guys and you've got our 12-year-old, 11-year-old kids. How do you, I think that's the other thing too, is people don't realize is, I can't serve in there. I can't serve in that area. How are you able to break that mindset?
Well, we we really love to put people where they feel that their gifts are. We don't just want to say like, here's where we need something. Can you do that? And that you have to fill that exact role. We've gone so far as to talk to people about where do you feel your strengths are, and trying to figure out where they would fit best in the ministry. So it's not just positions. It's also just finding people's gifts and strengths and putting them there. Even if that position didn't exist before, we have actually found places where they'll thrive and be able to invest in the kids in whatever way that looks like. So yeah, we have a little more freedom in, we have a great curriculum, and it guides you through a lot of stuff, but we also give a lot of room for them to bring their personalities into their small groups and stuff. And I think it is great to see how diverse our volunteer base is. It really is.
Yeah. Well, you create something where you invest in people who invest in people who invest in people who invest in people, and it's an ongoing thing. And I think one of the coolest ways to measure the effectiveness of both of what you guys do is you have people that come through your ministries and then immediately want to contribute to those ministries. You have the students that you just mentioned who came through under the student ministry and immediately wanted to invest back in it. My kids who came through kids ministry and immediately want to invest back in it. And now I'll just kind of talk to you just as a dad, that I am so grateful that my kids get to be the benefit of the leadership of you two. There is not another two people on the planet that I would want to entrust my own kids with. My kids are pretty great, so I'm told. And people ask me all the time, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know. Me and their mom have just not screwed them up, but you guys have played and are playing a big role in that. And I'm sure that there are other people on the other side of this camera that would say the same. So thank y'all for what you do. It means a lot.